everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand Fans Forum. It was Manchester United 3, Southampton 0, as Manchester United go away from home to Southampton and get a good win under their belts. They say the season starts now. I am joined with Kev, Mordzs and Ricky. And honestly, people will say it's only Southampton, but Manchester United needed that. And if you saw what our graphic designer Ryan put as a thumbnail before I made him change it, you would have been like, what's going on here? It's only Southampton, Kev, but how important are them 3 points?
Yeah, get the champagne out, man. United are back. Title charge. I said it earlier, man. We are back. I'm joking, of course. If you step back and look at it, Southampton as a game, prior to it, I did think that they were going to come out and try and play this kind of playing out from the back, and they just couldn't do it. I think there's loads of positives.
Yeah. 35 minutes.
Yeah.
I know Onana really changed the game in that sense.
It really is a big moment for him to save that. Really big.
It's absolutely huge. We're going to get into it. I mean, Mordzs, correct score prediction on the build-up show.
Yeah.
I'm Kev as well, sorry, got you on there. So
we were just waiting for that Garnacho goal and we were like, yes.
Yeah, when Xerxes missed that chance, or the defender blocked it, I was thinking, no way. I think I was in the 90th minute as well, but then, yeah, obviously Garnacho got his goal, so yeah, I was happy. And
Ricky obviously can't not talk to you about the fact that Garnacho came on and, guess what? What do you like about him, Beth? What do you like about him? He can influence a game and he comes on and scores. So thank you very much. It's, I think, 2 goals and 1 assist since the start of this season, and he's basically been on the bench for most of it. So thank you very much. Better than Elanga, thank you very much. If anyone watched the build-up show,
don't say that to him.
I just looked at the Forest team for today, and Elanga's on the bench, by the way.
Exactly.
Maybe he'll come on and have an effect. You never know.
Well, I thought he's a defensive, right-sided midfielder. Why isn't he playing against Liverpool?
I don't know. It's a good shout.
Ricky, thank you very much.
James Ward-Prowse is playing, which is a bit of a shock. It says in that position on the app that I've looked on.
Heard it here first, everyone. If anyone was watching the build-up show, me and Ricky were having a right debate over whether Elanga or Garnacho was better. Obviously, I was backing Alejandro Garnacho. If heard it here first, best ball knowledge is clear. Just saying. I would never say. Look at him laughing as well. Look at him laughing. You can decide in the chat. Anyway, we're all just happy because Manchester United have managed to get the win. And not only that, we've actually, won a game. We've kept a clean sheet and we've got a 3-goal margin. Our goal difference is actually coming up. What's the average, Ricky? Goals a game?
1.5.
We've scoring 1.5 goals a game for 3 seasons on the bounce, and we're just 1 goal short of it at the minute. If we had 1 more goal, we'd be on 1.5. It's got to improve.
Well, today it's 3, so it's tilting it in the right direction.
Yeah, it tilted it in the right direction because it was far too low before today.
Obviously, there's loads to discuss on today's show. Should Eriksen start the next game? And by the next game, we mean the next Premier League game in terms of Crystal Palace away. Should he start that? Should Ugarte come in? Is the injury worries again? Marcus Rashford, is he back? Is he going to go on hand and have one of them goal-scoring seasons after not scoring a goal since March and scoring a really good goal today? Where is Ahmad's place in this team? Where's Garnacho's place in this team? Because, the wingers did really well today. Was it that down to Joshua Zirkzee and his link-up play? Loads to discuss. I mean, and the defence as well. We were saying delightful. Martinez, Dalot, after I've praised him all week, having an absolute shocker, managed to get an assist at the end. Mazraoui, going to talk about it all. Get any of your questions and super chats in as well. Hit a like on the video. Thank you for joining, everyone. 12:30 kickoff, and we can enjoy our weekend. It feels really good. But let's start off. You know what? Let's start off with Marcus Rashford, Kev.
Yeah.
I saw your road trip, tuned in this morning. And you were saying, should Rashford start this game?
I got hammered for that title, yeah. Drop Rashford. I suppose everybody will be looking now and going, you said drop Rashford, but
not as bad as Mark's
bring
getting
it on.
Hammered for his Onana video yesterday. Onana stuff. If anyone watched the video,
they clearly watched the United stand. I'd like to think that we've give them the energy to go out today and prove us wrong. So fair play.
Exactly, and that's the title of the video is sit down haters. DELIGT was getting stick in the week. Rashford's been getting stick for his training videos, which I saw nothing wrong with, but people were saying he shouldn't start. Also, people thought Mark's video last night was him giving Onana a bit of stick. The title looked that way. If you actually watch the video, he's kind of backing Onana and blaming it on the fact we don't play the way that suits him. But anyway, came in clutch today. We'll get into it all. But Marcus Rashford scores a really good goal into playing with Ahmad quite a lot there. I mean, are they kind of secure in their place with the right and left wingers? Is Garnacho going to have to fight out from the bench?
The thing is, before we went into this game, I kind of looked at it and I thought it was time to drop Rashford. I know in hindsight you can look back now and say he scored a great goal. He played well. You know, I don't want to go too over the top and say that Rashford's back. I think he'll know from himself, but he's all about confidence. You think in the second half, the kind of chance that he had that the keeper saved, and that will come with time. But he scored a great goal, and I'm sure if Roy Keane was sat here, he'd just say he's doing his job. I think you have to kind of look at it. What do you reckon?
Yeah, no, I'm not getting I'm not getting carried away. It was a good goal. It wasn't like a very well worked goal from United. It was, Rashford pretty much just getting the ball outside the box and thinking, I'm just going to shoot. I've done it before. I can probably do it again, and it worked. But on top of that as well, I do think he had a couple moments where he had a bit of a good link-up play at a moment with Zirkzee where they were going.
I was going to say, I think Zirkzee and Rashford did link up well.
Yeah,
it's a good thing for Rashford.
He does have, we always say the same thing. Rashford, he has it. It's just about actually doing it and being efficient in what he's doing. He even had another good chance where I think Ramsdale did a really good save near post, and obviously stopped him from getting a goal there. But like you said, and I think it's just about him continuing this momentum, I guess, and doing it into the next game. If he were to go back now and then back into the old Rashford, we say, then it's kind of like we're going to have to start opening up the conversations about, who'd just start on the left wing, But I think it's positive that he got the goal because of his confidence, but let's not get too carried away.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't a man of the match performance.
No.
You didn't look at Rashford and say that. And you could argue the fact that he's been that poor that even an average game for Rashford is going to be better than what he's been putting in. At least, listen, he looked interested, he was running at them, and the goals are a major, kind of thing for Rashford.
Do you know what it was for me as well? Like, people say in the chat it's only Southampton, and you are right, you don't want to get carried away. We'll have much better kind of view of where we are when we go into our next couple of league games. Palace away is a tough one, then we've got, is it Spurs? I think it is. That'll be a tough one as well. We'll have more idea of where we are. Southampton haven't won a game yet. That is true. And you don't want to get too carried away against a team like that without being too disrespectful. But even when Rashford did score that goal, first of all, it was a good goal. And there was a couple of times where Ahmad and Rashford were actually linking up with each other, and Rashford was coming into the middle and Zirkzee was pulling to the left a little bit sometimes. And I really like that. He had another chance and Ramsdale saved it, and then Ahmad again. It's just off a corner and Ahmad just passes it to him. But it's nice play through the forwards players, which is what we've been missing, that sort of chemistry in the final third. And he picks his spot, and even from that moment, I feel like his body language just looked better, and he seemed like he was more up for it, and he seemed more confident. And people say, you shouldn't need a goal to feel that way. But when you are a confidence player like Rashford, that is massive for him. So what I'm hoping, because, it's good for Manchester United, I'm hoping now that'll be that goal that kind of spurs him on to have that season where we know he can do that he's done in the past, that he's been living off a bit, and people were getting to the cup was full with these poor performances. Hopefully now he can kick on from that. But Ricky, I know you've criticised Rashford in the past. What did you think of his overall game today and the front three in general, really?
His overall game today was a little bit better, without a doubt, but same as Mordzs said, I won't go over the top. The fact that he scored a goal, a lot of people have been right on to that, he scored a goal, he's back, he's going to keep it going. He might keep it going, the goal scoring. But in general, for me, even when he's scoring goals, he doesn't really play as well as I would like a player to play on that side. The front three as a whole, I was very impressed with Ahmad again. And I think Zirkzee's looking like we might have a really good link-up player there. Again, as we've said 2 or 3 times already, it's only against a team who are bottom of the league, and Southampton. But they started off great, to be fair.
No, they did.
They started off, they looked a really good side for 35 minutes. As I said at half-time, there's no truer saying the games change on goals or certain instances, and the penalty save was massive. We'll never know now what would have happened, but if we'd have gone down and they got their tails up and our heads would have been down, we might have ended up losing that game, but for that one moment. So, but overall, as soon as we did get playing, as soon as we got a goal, Zirkzee looks like I think we might have a really good player on our hands there with Zirkzee.
No, yeah, I agree. We've got some super chats in. We have Thomas Hopley saying, Ricky, man of the match. I'm ready for my head to spin. I have an idea who I think it might be. Matt Silverladder says, if United beat City, will Kev do a nude photo shoot?
Yeah, why not? I'll take one for the team, I don't mind.
Ashley Hamrick says, City have conceded in the first minute. Lol. Yeah, City are losing 1-0 to Brentford.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
to be fair, apparently Mbeumo was 1-on-1 with Edison and should have scored the second, so apparently they're
I think
dominating.
they're the last
a little
team
bit.
to beat him at the Etihad, aren't they? I think Ivan Toney scored a couple.
Yeah, they usually, do quite well against them. So come on, Brentford.
Yeah.
Come on, Brentford. We want an exciting
Title chat. What did I say at the start? You know what I mean? What did I say? We'll be, what is it, about 3 points behind City? There you go. If it stays like that,
Brentford might go.
we're in the mix.
Yeah, Simon Stone and Mbeumo fails to make contact with overhead kick as Brentford put more pressure.
Overhead kick.
City all over the place defensively.
Love to hear it. What a day so far.
I mean, Mordzs, we were having a bit of a discussion surrounding Rashford, Garnacho, Ahmad, Xerxes. Forward plays today, what did you reckon and who stood out for you?
So, look, I do think that we should give Rashford some credit because, I mean, at the end of the day, realistically, he actually is our main goal scorer because I genuinely don't see Xerxes as a goal scorer, and it's weird because he is our number 9, but his best play doesn't come in the box. Like when I look at Xerxes and I think that's what I like, it's never what he's doing in the box, it's what he's doing outside of the box. It's his link-up play. There was a time where the ball's come down near the halfway line, he's put it through one of the players' legs and he's switched it to Ahmad. That's great play, but as a striker, he's not in the right position right now because who's going to be the one to score the goal if Ahmad's got the ball on the wing?
He could have had 2 goals today, really, couldn't he? And he did say that when he joined United, don't expect me to be a prolific goal scorer. I'm more about link-up play. Maybe a bit like what Dwight York was, but Dwight York did score goals for United, whereas today you look at the chance in the first half where he's stretching, the second half it's kind of straight down the middle where you think he'd just pick a corner out, this is your moment, almost too much time, but that's something that surely can be worked on.
I think with Xerxes personally, I think goals will come. I'm going to be honest, I was quite unsure of him after the first couple of games of the season. Even though he came on against Fulham and scored that goal, I was like, is he, he seemed a bit lagging, like a few steps behind.
I thought the same, because I was like, is this going to be another Anthony situation where it's a player that we didn't really need? Or
I was unsure, but
he surprised me.
Through glimpses that I've seen, and especially in today's game, people say it's only Southampton, but I feel like each game he's played, he's slightly got better, and I know he scored in that Fulham game, but if you look at his overall play, I think he's slightly got more confident each game. And today, he plays from the start, and I've seen 2 polar opposites online. I've seen some people saying, Xerxes was so good today. I've seen some people saying, he's not good enough, he's not going to score goals. I generally do think goals will come. I think he makes some really good runs. I think he gets into some really good positions. His finishing's let him down a couple of times. But apart from that, he's facilitating. Is it because it's Southampton, or is it because Xerxes was linking up really well? The fact that Rashford got multiple opportunities, Ahmad got multiple opportunities. When Garnacho came on, he put a few nice balls through to him as well. The fullbacks were overlapping too, and Xerxes, I've seen him interlinking with Rashford, I've seen him interlinking with Ahmad. To me, it was giving me, when Martial was playing and he used to do that with his back to goal and interlinking with the wingers.
Firmino vibes.
Yeah, it was giving me them sort of vibes, and I like that. I just thought today he looked really, really promising. Some of the passes he put through were excellent. And like you said, does need to make more of his chances that he got. I think especially that first chance, he should have gone with his left foot and just buried it. And that's where Højlund might come in, because I feel like he'd be kind of all over them. But in terms of some of the runs he makes and some of his positions and he takes up and the way that he kind of facilitated our play, I was really impressed with Xerxes today. I really was.
No, I agree.
That Firmino shout's good.
Yeah,
because,
Firmino shout, because he does drop in a lot, and when you look at how Firmino used to play with Liverpool, Firmino did get goals, but the main goal scorer was obviously Salah and Mane. It was set up for the wingers to be the ones to get the goals and get the assist. The striker was obviously more like a false 9, and he kind of dropped in deep, kind of like what Kane does a little bit. But Kane does score goals, but kind of similar to what Kane does, where he drops in deep, gets a ball, and he like I said, facilitates, whether it was Son or Kulusevski or whoever was playing the wingers. I think that's more of what Xerxes is. I just don't think right now, he will eventually get there. Hopefully, he will get there. But I just don't think right now he's going to be that striker that's going to get us that 20 goals or 24 or 15, 20 goals a season. I don't think he is. But that just means that the wingers that we have are going to have to be those players. So the Rashfords, the Garnachos, the Ahmads, Anthony, if he gets game time, they're going to be the ones who are going to have to get these goals. And to be fair, you look at Bruno. Bruno's obviously a 10, but there has been seasons where Bruno does get a lot of goals. So even though he does drop in deep, it doesn't mean he can't get on the end of certain crosses or get certain chances. Or the chance he had with Rashford that time, where Ramsdale got that save, it was a really good save. But that's another chance where like he was dropping in deep, but just through working that play with Rashford, he got a good chance and it was a good shot.
That was going in as well.
And it was going in, but it was a good save to be fair. But he can, like I said, like what you said, he can get goals from things like that. But I just don't see him as that like out and out. He's going to get you like 15, 20, 25 goals a season. I don't see him.
And it does make it interesting because at this moment in time, you wouldn't take him out the team. He's not really done anything wrong. Like you rightly say, he's bringing Ahmad, Rashford into the team. But the question will be, is obviously when Højlund's fully fit and comes back in, you know, you would assume that Højlund will lead the line because he's the out-and-out number 9. So where does Xerxes fit in then?
I think Højlund will eventually come back in, but I think he'll have to. I don't think he'll just start straight away. I think he'll come off the bench and maybe he'll get straight back in.
It's plenty of games,
it's strange, isn't it?
it?
Because like I do think we have missed Højlund.
Yeah, massively.
I think what Højlund's really good at is where Xerxes' weaknesses lie, and then what Xerxes is really good at is where Højlund's weaknesses lie. So it will be interesting. And to be honest, having 2 good players who are both playing well is what you want.
Can you play both?
I was going to say that.
You could
Any
play
chance
both.
of playing them both at some stage?
Either drop Bruno or put him in the 8.
I think you could.
Ricky loves that. Look at him smiling.
You've seen Xerxes was sometimes shifting to the left, so he could play there as well. So there is a world when you could. Cheddar says Højlund and Xerxes partnership would be good. Interesting stuff. Everyone get your comments in. We are going to move on to other things, but you know it's a long show and I just quickly wanted to touch on Ahmad again. Ahmad for me was like stole the show a little bit. He, for me, is a proper balanced forward player. He can take a man on and, you know, he can go for the shot himself and dribble through into the box, but he also looks up and looks for the pass, looks to create a chance. That's exactly what you need. I think, for me, which is weird because he seemed out of favour with Ten Hag, but he's forced himself into favour. He's like a manager's dream in terms of what he can do, his work ethic, his tracking back, but also going forward. The way he keeps hold of the ball, finds another player and then makes himself available to receive it again. He was so good today and really got us kind of on the front foot when United did eventually get into the game. I mean, what in terms of his partnership with Mazraoui, that looks like something that's going to develop over the time, Ricky, do you think?
Probably not. Hopefully Luke Shaw's going to get fit and Dalot's going to play right back.
I think Mazraoui was excellent with that.
I don't think he'll keep Dalot out.
I don't think he's that out either.
Luke Shaw
He's playing well. Look, let's see. If I thought Dalot struggled, I mean, I know we're changing the subject a little bit because you've asked me how they're going to link together, but Dalot at left back today, I know he's had some good games at left back. He was under a bit of pressure today, playing against an 18-year-old kid making his debut. I thought he was a bit at sea today, Dalot. His best position is right back, and I'd love to see him linking up with Ahmad, and I think it might be even better. Like you say, we're desperate for Luke Shaw to be fit for that to happen. But if that doesn't happen, then I agree with you. It's whoever he plays with. We hope to see that combination work well. I think Dalot's an even better player than Mazraoui.
Well, what I liked today, and I don't know if it was just like it was tactical by Erik ten Hag, it's because we had more space because it's Southampton, or because Ahmad was playing and he's football brain allows this to happen more with his positioning, and sometimes you're just in the same way with players. The amount of times when Ahmad had the ball and you see Mazraoui doing that overlapping run, we've missed it so much. Like, how many times have our wingers had there's just not an overlap and they've had to do it themselves, or there's not enough space and they just run into blind alleys and get tackled. Dalot was doing it a few times with Rashford as well, and we're actually making them overlapping runs. I mean,
the goal came from the last one. Dalot
exactly.
Back.
And do you think when Luke Shaw is back, what do you think happens with the fullback situation, Kev? Because Mazraoui's really impressing, and Dalot has been super good, but he did have a bit of a shocker today, one-off game maybe.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Luke Shaw, when he's fully fit, that he's the best left back at the club. It's definitely a problem area that we need to address. Obviously, we've heard that Malacia might be coming back as well. So you want competition for places. I totally agree that, you know, Luke Shaw would go onto the left, but then it does make the right-hand side. But you would kind of assume that Dalot would be the right back. But at the same time, Mazraoui's, I think he's been brilliant so far this season. I mean, really, really good. You look at Wan-Bissaka, who left, was great defensively, but getting forward wasn't great. Now you've got like Mazraoui, who seems like the all-round, you know, perfect package on that right-hand side.
For me, I think Mazraoui looks like one of the best signings that Ten Hag's made, genuinely.
Well, considering for the money as well.
That's what I mean. All things included, we're desperate for a fullback who can play both sides, even though he's just played right back for United. Looks really good defensively, great going forward, has a really good partnership with DELIGT, who they've played together before. I think how much did we pay for him? Like 15 million?
Yeah.
Something like that.
In terms of the players that we've signed, you know, he's probably the least amount of money. And he's probably been, I'd say, the most productive.
And the reality is, we're gonna have more injuries. Like, we've already had like 3 injuries this game.
Well, look at the way that we've ended this game today. You know, so Casemiro, Maguire, Evans.
They're both gonna end up playing anyway.
He just looks smooth as well. Like, he just doesn't look like he's gonna make a mistake. He looks so good on the ball.
It's weird because at this point now you'd be looking for a kind of weakness in the play, but I've not actually seen that yet. You don't say, oh, he's not that great getting forward or defensively.
I think of one slight negative. He never seems to be able to finish a game, does he? He seems to get subbed every week, doesn't he? He's come off today with. It wasn't just a tactical change, was it? I mean, if you look at,
I think he was injured. In fair, he did seem to limp off. So I think
if you look at Dalot, and I know that Bruno fans, Beth, always argue this about Bruno. At least he's always available. Same applies to Dalot, doesn't it? He's very, very rarely out injured.
Oh yeah.
Very, very rarely has to come off. And yet, I'd like to know the stats exact. But Mazraoui, I won't be surprised if he's been subbed in every game so far that he's started.
It depends though. We don't know how much football he kind of played for Bayern Munich before he come. You know, there's a reason they wanted to sell him. So the same with Ugarte today. You know, Ten Hag must have looked at that and thought, he's not ready to start this game. You know, he was out in the wilderness a bit at PSG, wasn't he? So it's about match sharpness, isn't it, really?
Yeah, whoever's just sent the recent super chat in, by the way, get a bloody life. Please get a life. Like, honestly, please get a life.
It's not about me getting naked again, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, it's just like, come on, mate. Like, get a life. Anyway, that's all the airtime I'll give it. But Mords, one thing I wanted to touch on is, you know, Ricky talks about Dalot staying in the team, and I said, like, I think Dalot, player of the year last year, been our most consistent performer. You know, had a really bad game today, let's be honest. Came into it in the second half, but, you know, he put us in a bit of trouble in the first half. But I think what maybe he's been underestimated is Mazraoui's partnership with DELIGT, and that might be something that, you know, could be important in terms of, you know, creating them partnerships in the back line as well. Yeah,
and we spoke about the build-up, so it's about keeping that back four the same as much as you can. Every other team pretty much tries to keep their back four, especially the two centre-backs, but the full-backs as well. You try and keep it as the same team for every season. Consistent as possible, just because defending is like 80% IQ and like 20% physicality. As long as you can read the game, not just read your game, but understand the plays that you're playing next to, it makes it so much easier. Knowing that, okay, this is the kind of defender who's going to press and going to go forward and try and win the ball back, so I know that I need to now cover, or he's not as quick, so I know now that if he's going to go against this player, I'm going to need to drop a couple of yards just in case he gets beat. Just that knowledge of understanding the plays that you're playing with will make your game 10 times better. So I think me personally, if Luke Shaw was even fit, I wouldn't even throw him back in the team straight away. I genuinely wouldn't, because we don't even know how, like, if Luke Shaw's even going to come back as good as he was. We barely saw him last season, and he played a bit for England, I guess, but he wasn't spectacular or anything. I don't want Mazraoui to get dropped. I don't think it's even fair to drop him from what he's done so far. In fact, I think defensively he's even better than Dalot. I think if he played on the other side, the penalty that Dalot gave and all the mistakes Dalot made defensively, Mazraoui wouldn't have made those mistakes. So I think, in my opinion, I would rather actually keep Mazraoui in the team and Dalot in the team, unless there was a valid reason for him to get dropped.
I agree with you only on the basis, or if this is the basis for the argument, that Luke Shaw might break down and you want to ease him in and not not sort of without him again so quickly.
Even if he was fit, I would have played him 9 minutes again.
Yeah, if somebody could say to me now, which I know nobody can, it's impossible about any player, but if somebody could say to me now, Luke Shaw's going to be perfectly fit and he's going to be fit to play 90 minutes every day of the week, well, he's the best fullback we've got. He has got to go in the team if you are confident that he's going to be fit. He's the best of the three without any doubt.
But then you would say Mazraoui's going to be the fall guy because how can you leave Dalot out?
I wouldn't drop him.
One thing I would say is I wouldn't count your chickens that Luke Shaw's going to stay fit for a long time.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
But also,
I agree with that. I agree with the argument for that reason. That's all.
But also, in terms of, beforehand, we've had to play Luke Shaw and play him because obviously he's our best left back. Last year had big injury problems, and before that, Tellers wasn't good enough, etc. So when Luke Shaw does come into the team, he's never really allowed a rest. Now we've got Mazraoui and Dalot who can both play that position and have been playing pretty well, apart from Dalot's bit of a shocker today. You're secure. So guess what? If Luke Shaw plays 90 minutes on a Saturday and we've got a midweek game, he does not have to play. And that's what's important, and that's what works hopefully in keeping Luke Shaw fitter for a bit longer as well. But we will see on that one. A lot of people in the chat saying that they really want to see Højlund and Xerxes play together.
I'd love to see it.
Just think about Højlund's runs in behind, because he makes such good runs in behind, and his pace, and that through balls that Xerxes can put in.
Xerxes feeding the winger, pulling it back, Højlund on the end of him.
Yeah, Xerxes a 10. I think he's a 10. I said it before. I said it on Twitter. I said he is a 10. He plays like Bruno, but in a way, his link-up play is actually slightly better, in my opinion.
Slightly.
Okay, however much more better you want to say it is better, isn't it?
It's just class.
It is better. Bruno is a bit more creative, I would say. I think he's a bit more creative.
It depends how you look at it.
I think Bruno, if a chance was going to come out of nowhere, it would come from Bruno. That's what I mean by creative. He
certainly brought Rashford and Ahmad into play today. And, Xerxes, in fairness to him, you can look at that performance and think he is the reason. And like you mentioned about Firmino earlier, there will be people that used to look at that front three where they go, all they would have looked at was the numbers and the goals input from Firmino, who still got goals. Yeah. But when you look at them as a front three and what they did, and you ask any Liverpool fan, any Liverpool player at that time, they would totally appreciate what Firmino brought to that team, because he brought others into play. We've had enough of these selfish players. We need players that are prepared to play the ball out left, right, bring people into play, make runs, even when you're not getting the ball, bring the defender with you, open up spaces and that. Yeah. That's been a major issue with United, is so many players static up front, the likes of Rashford not prepared to make runs. But at the minute, I think certainly in Ahmad, based on today's performance, he's clearly the best winger at this club.
I mean,
clearly.
And
as the all-round package and what he's bringing to the team, and the mind boggles that he was left out for the Liverpool game. How he ever come to that decision that day to drop him after being Player of the Month, scoring against Brighton. We'll leave him out. 3-0 down. Let's bring him on in the 70th minute. He was quality today.
I think as well, Ahmad just really put his foot down now and shown his quality and shown to Ten Hag, I am ready to start. I am the best winger and I've got a lot of potential and I can create goals and I can also score them as well. He's shown him on the pitch. He's the definition of someone who is grafted for a place in that 11, because I think he really had to sort of prove himself to Ten Hag, and now as well all the fans are on his side and the fans have actually have seen what he can do. There is no excuses for Erik Ten Hag not to be starting him. I mean, as good as how shouldn't say as good, but as much better as Rashford was today. Imagine a front three of Xerxes drifting off to the left, Ahmad on the right, and then Højlund up front. I could see that working as well.
It's a different dynamic altogether.
In terms of sort of Xerxes coming into the middle from there, Højlund's runs in behind, Ahmad's creativeness off the right, it'd just be really nice. So
it's good that balanced, Beth.
It's good that we've got options.
I think you
could. I think you could do that.
You two, if you're expecting Xerxes to play more like Rashford, then I'm going to expect him to help the fullback more and to be in shape in that respect.
I suppose.
You know
maybe you'd have to go with
if you're going to play
you'd have to go like a two up front. Sort of
I
thing.
think so. Yeah.
I think you could in certain points of the games. I think you could play like that, but we'll see. We'll see what Erik Ten Hag decides to do.
For you, Ricky, Ahmad must be one of your perfect kind of wingers.
Ahmad's great. A little bit as we were talking about in the build-up show. I see him more as a wide midfield player rather than a winger. I prefer wide midfield players to wingers.
Your old school terminology.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's our talk on the forward players. I want to move on to another really good performance today, and that was DELIGT, who received man of the match from TNT. And we'll see who you guys give your man of the match to in a bit. But DELIGT today got a goal after the first half, had the most touches in Southampton's box with 3. So that's where United were after the first half. DELIGT scored that opening goal, and for me, that's how you respond to the adversity that he had to deal with in the international break. And he said himself he didn't have the most perfect games, which he didn't. He did make mistakes. He got a lot of criticism. Comes in and gets a man of the match performance, and obviously scores a really important first goal for us from a Bruno cross. And not only that, 2 set pieces as well for our goals today. Rashford and DELIGT, so both come from set pieces. So, Ricky, in terms of DELIGT, I know you like to see a player play for United and you weren't 100% sold at first, but how are you feeling about him after this game?
I thought he played well today, yeah. It's still too early doors for me to absolutely nail me colours to the mast, you know what I mean? But he certainly played well enough today, and I do believe he is a centre-back who scores goals as well, so that's a good start, getting a goal in only his second start, I think. But on today's game, yeah, certainly fine. But look, we've got to say the same about every player. We're playing against a team who are bottom of the league, and they haven't scored. I don't think they've scored a goal yet, have they, in the league?
Scored 1.
They've scored 1, but it's the same applies for all the players. We can't just say it about one player or another player. Oh, it's only against them. No disrespect to Southampton, by the way, and they looked a really good team for half an hour. So certainly in that first half hour, the defenders had a lot of work to do. So I was more than happy with him, yeah. But that doesn't mean, what's the phrase? One swallow doesn't make a summer. Is that it?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Mordzs is like, what? Never heard that before.
Here's an interesting stat for you. Ahmad has created twice as many chances as any other Manchester United player in the Premier League so far, with 10. Garnacho has 5, and Bruno and Rashford have 4. So
United have also, I think we've missed the most big chances in the league.
yeah, and
That sounds about right.
even
That's Bruno as well.
even today,
Blame Bruno.
it could have been 5 or 6 today. Honestly, if we would have actually been able to finish properly in that second half. On DELIGT as well, he said he confirmed his injury was only cramp, so he was absolutely fine. And yeah, DELIGT, he had most clearances, most aerial duels, most touches, and scored a goal. So really good performance from him. Next to Lisandro Martinez as well. Kev?
Can I just say on DELIGT, sorry?
Yeah, go on.
I just wanted to say, after the week that this guy's had, I've read the stuff on social media, big accounts coming out because he made a mistake in a Nation League's game. The stuff that was written about him, they were saying that United had signed like the Dutch Harry Maguire and that, which I know it sounds awful, but you look at it and I'm like, seriously, man, they'd literally written him off. For a mistake that he made. They said that, that's his international career over. To do what he did today, I think, was really, really big. You had Graham Souness, when United signed him, saying he was lightweight. If anything, he's colossal in size. If anything, he looks like a heavyweight in a good way. And Paul Scholes as well this week was saying, don't understand why they've signed DELIGT. And Onana, he said as well. So in that, I'd like to think that they probably use that as, ammunition today to go out there.
Let's just hope we can tell them all to sit down after another half a dozen or even a dozen games rather than...
Yeah, I don't want to get too carried away with,
Certainly played well today.
Yeah, that all you can do is, it's match day, we've won the game. Yes, It's Southampton, but it's something to build on.
Yeah,
bigger tests to come.
That's the thing. Obviously, you don't want to get too carried away because, without disrespect to them, it is only Southampton that've come up from the Championship, and you want to be performing like this against, you want to perform like this.
I like to see us perform like this even in our next game, where we always struggle in recent years. Yeah, let's see how we do there.
It's just nice not to have a therapy forum, and have positive things to actually talk about as well regarding United.
That's what I mean. We need consistency, and that's what we need, consistency. But you can only win the game that's in front of you and play well in the game that's in front of you.
Correct.
And DELIGT certainly did that. I mean, Mordzs, for me as well, his partnership with Martinez. Martinez went a bit under the radar today, but I thought he was phenomenal.
Yeah, look, I've always said that. I think Martinez is the most certified centre-back that we have, or even defender that we have. If anyone's not going to get dropped, it's Martinez. And I'm talking about, including Onana. If anyone's like, you know what, his name is the first player on the defenders and goalkeeper list, Martinez is going to be that player. I think today, he came off with a little bit of a knock, but even when he had that knock, he was still putting in challenges. He didn't want to come off, he was still putting in challenges. He's just a warrior. He reminds me of Vidic. Like, Vidic could come off the pitch bleeding, like his head's blood, there's blood everywhere, but you know he's still going to go in for a header. You know he's still going to go in for a side tackle. He's not going to give up, he's not going to sulk or complain. No, he's going to fight for the club. So that's the one thing that I love the most about Martinez. So I think, even though, yes, the last game, Liverpool, wasn't the greatest game, you knew he was going to come back and have a good performance.
Another player, you know, it seems to be United players, whoever United sign, in the media, you get all these I don't know it with any other team, it just seems to be United. Martinez was another one, and I know he had a bit of a shaky start, but you had the likes of Jamie Carragher, you know, he's too small, you know, being heightist. I was like, hey, Carragher, sit down, lad, you know. Yeah. He has proved him wrong, big time.
Carragher did put his hands up in the first game of the season a few weeks ago. Here's one for you as well. Amad Diallo, who assisted Rashford's goal today, is the youngest Man United player to have created at least 6 chances in a Premier League game since Anthony Martial against Stoke in February 2016. Do you like that one, Ricky?
Puts him right up there in my estimation.
How old is that man? 22?
Yeah, he's 22. 22. I mean, and then Garnacho being an impact sub, a lot of people talking about this. I mean, Mordzs, you did say you see him as an impact sub. He is certainly making that impact from the bench, and he's still only 19. People got to remember that. Yeah,
look, it's not a bad thing for someone to be a good player off the bench. I feel like people always look at bench players and think they're not good enough or they're not good players. There's loads of players that came off the bench and were great players. They made huge impacts. That was just their role at the time. Doesn't mean they can never ever become a starting player. It just means at this moment in time, they are making the biggest impact coming off the bench. And I said it as soon as he came on. I think they just got a red card after he came on. I think sooner around that time anyway, they got a red card, and I thought, you know what, Garnacho against 10 men, it's problematic. He's going to do something. He's going to go at them. We're already winning the game 2-0, so it's not like he has to be safe or anything. He can actually just go and have fun and create chances, score goals, whatever. And obviously that's what he did. So I genuinely don't think it's a bad thing that Garnacho comes off the bench. I think it actually helps him because he's getting more goals now. He scored. Did you say 2 goals or something? 2 goals and 1 assist?
2 goals and 1 assist, yeah. And
he should have another one at Brighton, so that could have been, you know, he's obviously creating...
Should have had one at Fulham as well.
And Fulham. So, look, he's going to get, I think, in terms of like statistics and goal contributions, I think he's going to have not a crazy amount, but he's going to have a good amount this season. And then next season, we can now see where or not he fits as a starting player. But I think for the majority of the season anyway, he's doing well off the bench. Why do we have to change?
You're saying he's more effective?
Yeah, he
off
is.
The bench.
I think
I agree.
I don't see the problem with that.
And I think, if you start him, it's totally different because you're talking the game's 0-0. Yeah. You might be playing against a team who's come to Old Trafford, who's prepared to sit back. The emphasis is on United, you know, to try and attack them and that. When you're coming into a game like that today at 2-0. Obviously, the player gets sent off for like hacking down Garnacho, but the dynamics of the game are totally different. You know, you're running at players that have been on the pitch for 60, 70 minutes who are tired. So I think it's a great thing to have. There's nothing against Garnacho, but at this moment in time, he's definitely a better, you know, kind of impact player at United.
Now that red card came because Garnacho had energy and he was able to beat his player quicker
his legs,
because he had fresh
knew
legs.
He couldn't get him,
exactly.
So he's assaulted him.
So
can I just say on that tackle as well, it was a horrible
It's a horrific challenge.
Horrible.
And it didn't look that bad when you first seen it. Yeah. And then you think, has Garnacho made a bit of a meal of it? And then when you see it again, I mean, to catch his knee, it really was a bad one, that.
Well, let's get.
At least he went on to score anyway.
Yeah, exactly, and happy. But he seems so hungry to go and get that goal as well and prove himself. And you want that. Yeah. You want that hunger coming off the bench as well. Let's get a poll in the chat. Who should be the starting wingers for Manchester United? We'll do the combinations of Garnacho and Ahmad and Rashford and Ahmad, and then you can do Garnacho and Rashford as well, and we'll see which one comes out on top, because I'd find that really interesting to see how people are feeling about that. But just because, you know, you're not in the starting 11 every week doesn't mean you don't have a big part to play, 100%. Yeah. And that's even been in the best of teams like Sir Alex Ferguson days and everything.
He's been our second most effective attacking player, if we're being honest. Like, in terms of goal contributions and whatnot, Community Shield, Fulham game, even when he came on Brighton, and then today, he's been more. Even though Rashford did score today, Garnacho has been, like, you can say he's been more effective. So it's not like he's missing out on opportunities. It's not like he's like, oh, I'm not going to score if I come off the bench. No, he's still going to get
the way
his
he's
goal.
playing when he comes off the bench, he's absolutely, it's a saying that they use when they don't mean it physically, but he's absolutely banging on the manager's door, isn't he? He's banging on the manager's door for a game, and the way Ahmad's playing, it's going to be difficult to put him in on there. And I know that Rashford scored a goal today, but Rashford's the one whose position should be in danger, but it doesn't. It just doesn't look like it.
Never does, does it?
You know what I mean?
Well, let's talk about a huge moment in the game, and for me, the turning point, because it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Manchester United were under the cosh for the first 35 minutes, and Mordzs, you know, if that penalty goes in, I think the game completely changes. United heads drop, and it's like, what are you made of now? We're away from home, backs against the wall. Wasn't a great penalty, but Andre Onana, a goalkeeper that can save penalties, saves it, and it changes the game and gets Dal out of jail as well. Yeah,
I think we should give goalkeepers way more credit for saving penalties. That's the same as me as for scoring a goal. Like, they should put then a goalkeeper's name on the score list for saving a penalty, because that completely changed the game. I think we scored like 2 minutes after the penalty save. I think we were 2-0 up like 10 minutes after the penalty save. So that was probably the biggest game changer out of everything that happened. So I think we should give way more flowers and credit to Onana for making that save, because that would have completely changed.
You're right, because they always say, like, Southampton have missed a penalty. For me, a missed penalty is if you put it wide or over, you've missed the target, but it should be flipped round. It should be Onana saved a penalty.
Onana's name should be on
a penalty.
You need to give more credit to goalkeepers, because it's not easy to save penalties. People say it's 50-50. No, it's not. If it was 50-50, then every striker would score 50 and miss 50, but they don't.
Well, how many? I'm sorry, not to like. I don't want to be like that person, but how many did De Gea have?
Are you bringing De Gea in?
I'm sorry, but how many did De Gea have?
He couldn't save a pen, could he?
He
To save his life.
Exactly. Whereas Onana saved a couple now since he's quite a few actually. You know, since he's been.
Galatasaray was at Old Trafford. That was a big one.
I think it was. That was a big one. That kept us in it for a bit. Yeah. Saved. Did he save? He saved in.
Can't remember.
He saved in. I think it was one of the penalty shootouts we have as well. Was it against Coventry? I don't know. But I've noticed he saved a few penalties now, and he seems to be able to do that, which is really important, I think, to have in your team, because today, I mean, you shouldn't be in that. I've got to be honest, we should not have been in that moment where Southampton were dominating us, and I think United started quite shaky, because in possession we looked good, out of possession we just didn't have enough there to stop Southampton, because I'm going to be honest, he played some really good football. So Onana saving that penalty, not only does it change the trajectory of the game, but it's absolutely huge in terms of morale and just the team in kind of a wake-up call. Like,
confidence boost.
We need to go and do this now. And in fact, the header that came from the save of the penalty to try and score off the penalty, basically, that got saved by Onana, was Southampton's last shot on target of the whole game. Wow. That's how much it changed it. So credit where credit's due, and we're going to keep doing our man of the match and magic moment. That might be one for consideration.
It's an absolute game changer. Yeah. Like you say, if Southampton score that and go 1-0 up, we know what United are like. You wouldn't really have had much where you'd look at it and think, oh, we're going to come back and win. The heads would have dropped. It would have been, the cameras on Ten Hag, and it would have been, the media would have absolutely loved it. But for Onana to save that, a lot's been said about him this week. For him to even have that, like Martin as at Aston Villa, that kind of shithousery, I always call it, where he stood on the penalty spot, and the ref saying get on your line, and he kind of turns, takes his time. He's already in the penalty taker's head, and he's had a little wait then to come up. Probably had too much time to think about where he's going to put this ball, but he's dived the right way. If he's one of them keepers that's just going to pick one side and dive, it doesn't look a badly hit penalty if Onana dives the wrong way. If it was on target, it was going to be in. But it changes the complex of the game, because a couple of minutes later we find ourselves 1-0 up, and then we're in control, because I think we know that United are best set up to play counter-attacking football, and we just sort of played into their hands then, really.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think for Onana, like, when he initially came into the team, and obviously we lost De Gea, the main thing for me was just the fact that yes, cool, he can play out from the back and he can pass it well, but as a goalkeeper, everyone always says, look, your main attribute has to be just stopping the ball from going in the net. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have loads of opportunities to play out from the back, loads of opportunities during the game. But one shot, if you make one mistake, that's a goal. And a goal is way bigger than you messing up a long pass, you know what I mean? So I'd rather the goalkeeper, and that's why a lot of people were so annoyed when De Gea left, because it was like, he's stopping the ball from going in the net. Well, even though he was making loads of mistakes, to be fair, but he was a better shot stopper than Onana. So now, if Onana was to develop, I'd rather him develop his shot stopping ability than his passing out from the back, because one or two chances, and he makes a mistake for one or two chances, it's way more detrimental than him messing a pass to a fullback or a winger. So the fact that he's making these penalty saves, he's saved us a couple of times this season actually. There's been a few other decent saves.
Save earlier on.
It still baffles me that we've got a goalkeeper whose weakness seems to be shot stopping. Work that one out, it's madness, isn't it? You have literally seen Onana, some kind of, where you look and he's literally throwing it into his own net, where you think, how is he doing? The FA Cup final is a great example of it. The Doku goal, there wasn't much power in that, and he pushes it into the side of the net. But leading up to that, he'd made fantastic saves where you look and you think, how is it? Is it a lapse in concentration, or I don't know.
I thought he was good today in terms of off his line. He was quick and anticipated danger, came for crosses well. Made a good save early on, obviously made a penalty save, so I thought he had a really good game, but then you flash back to that Liverpool game last week and it wasn't good, so he just needs to get that consistency up, but he's definitely improved overall since when he first
and in his defence, I mean, we talked about the defence, I was going to say.
You've not had the same starting back
how many
four,
different combinations of centre-back pairings, left and right back. You look at the way that we ended the game today, Casemiro, Maguire, Johnny Evans at left back, and in front of him, that's what Onana's seeing. So for this style of play, and everybody keeps going on about we want to play out from the back, you can't really, in training and that, how do you train with a settled back four when you haven't got one? We talk about Luke Shaw, maybe Dalot at right back, DELIGT, where is Yoro going to come in? Where does he fit in? Martinez, he does not have a settled back four that he's played in front of. So I will defend him to that extent, but obviously I can't defend the errors that he has made in the past, but he's certainly the game-changing moment today that he's set up for us.
Someone said PB. What the
a lot of PBs.
He said he was good at Inter. Horrifying defence doesn't help. So yeah, you got to get that defence settled, and hopefully you'll be all right. Martin Saunders says, Ricky, you're a legend, but you do realise Ten Hag is telling Rashford to stay forward. I don't agree with Erik, but I'm Ten Hag in.
Maybe he is. Maybe he is. If he is, he shouldn't be.
United One says Ahmad is clearly the best forward in this team. Yeah. Brazil says Ugarte's high press tracking was very impressive. Going to talk about him in a second. Mark Goatbridge says absolutely buzzing with that DELIGT quality start to the weekend, and I've also had a yes from a girl to go on a date next weekend. Fingers crossed. I hope it goes well
Fair
for
play.
you. And Anil Sexiar says Bruno doesn't pass to Manu or Xerxes when they are free. Bruno takes time to play simple pass and plays blind passes too quickly. I mean, Bruno didn't have his best game today again, managed to get an assist, but the midfielders I really want to talk about are Manu and Eriksen. Should Eriksen start next game, Ricky?
I'd say so, yeah.
And by next game, I mean Crystal Palace away, not Barnsley. But should he start at Crystal Palace away?
Well, obviously, Ugarte is going to be banging on the door as well, isn't he? It's a great situation for the managers to be in. But it shouldn't be Eriksen's position. Well, if you count Bruno as a midfield player today, and look, and I know at the end of the day, everybody's got to stop playing football in the end, but I'd like to pick a team on how they're playing right now. You know what I mean? Credit where credit's due. And out of three midfield players today, if Bruno is in midfield, I have to call him a forward, really. But you've got Bruno, obviously Manu and Eriksen, and he was the pick of the three by some distance for me, Eriksen. So why shouldn't he start? And if you're going to bring Ugarte in, it should be for one of the others.
I thought it was a huge call that today, because I must say when I got the lineup and I thought, because I suppose the big one was, is it going to be Casemiro or Ugarte? And then I'm like, whew, the curveball has just landed. I'm like, Eriksen, where has that one come from? But it worked. It did work today. You cannot argue with that. And Ten Hag put whether it's because he's worked with him for that long before, previous days at what was it, Ajax and that he trusts him to go out and do a job. But I thought, and let's look at the opposition as well. I thought the game was kind of set up for Eriksen to sit in the middle, pick passes. He did get about. There'll be United fans that say that his legs have gone in the same way with Casemiro, but I thought he was all, he did everything that he had to do today. Everything that was good kind of come through him. Yeah,
I think Eriksen was our best midfielder. However, I wouldn't start him though for the next game, only because. Okay, Crystal Palace ain't too far away.
That's why I'm saying you have to look at the opposition.
Yeah, I don't think he would have had that game against Liverpool.
It should be a tougher game.
But
I
get Ricky's point of you're only as good as your last game and you should be in on merit as well. So taking that into consideration, you would say that, well, he's played his way into the team. It depends really this week now what happens. Another week, Ugarte, will he play in the the cup?
When people talk like Mordzs has just said about I don't think that player who he might have been the best player today, but against that team it's going to be worse. But the way I look at that, surely the two players today who weren't as good as this player will be even worse against this team.
No, but I've seen those two.
I like horses for courses.
I get what you're saying, but I've seen those two players play better against that team as well.
Yeah, perhaps.
So
perhaps they did beat us twice last year, though. I bet Eriksen didn't play neither game.
I beat Liverpool mainly when Bruno both played decent.
Mods, do you think Eriksen should start, and also do you think Mainu needs a rest? Because although we know how good he can be, today wasn't his best game. He just looks a bit worn out.
Yeah, I do think Mainu does need a rest. I think it is. I mean, we always say about Garnacho's 1919. Mainu is the same. Like they're both the same age. He's still young, and him playing pretty much every United game, and now he's playing pretty much every England game as well. So he's just being run out, and I think it's just the fact that we just don't have a player as good as him. But now that it's weird to say that now we have Eriksen. Eriksen's been here the whole time. Eriksen, he's just been sat on the bench.
I put a clip on Instagram this week. Well, it's not a clip. It's about half an hour long. I didn't even know I could do half an hour and record it on Instagram. But it's still there. And in that speech, whatever you want to call it, I talked about Eriksen, why he plays 70 minutes for Denmark, I know it's international football, but they're a really good team. Switzerland are a really good team. If they were in the Premier League, Switzerland, they won't be getting relegated. They'd be mid-table at least. And they beat Switzerland 2-0. I think it was Serbia they beat 2-0. They kept 2 clean sheets. Eriksen played for 60 or 70 minutes. And I said, and it's still there, I said I would be playing Eriksen. We need to be keeping clean sheets. We need players who can, no matter how or why you keep them clean sheets. People always think it's about running hard, defending hard, but looking after the ball is equally important. If you look after the ball a bit better, you're going to have to do less of that hard running and less of that tackling. And he's playing for an international team. I went back over the results into the Euros. They've conceded 4 goals in the last 6 games. 2 of them were against Germany. They're unlucky enough to play the host nation. Do you know what I mean? So if he's doing that at international level, when international level's not always good, by the way, you could be playing San Marino, but when you're playing the top teams at international level, it's at least as good as Premier League football.
Yeah.
And he's playing in that level all the time, and they're playing for 60 or 70 minutes and they bring him off. And I said that's what I'd be doing. I said that this week, and that's what we actually did. Yeah. I don't know if you saw it, the manager, but there you go. I actually said it this week. That's what we should do. We should play Eriksen for 60 or 70 minutes, and let's try and make sure we've still got a clean sheet at that stage, which we did have.
The one thing you will get from Eriksen with the experience side of things, which was good today, is United's midfield always seems to be a bit rushed. Whereas today there was just instances where people were making runs, but Eriksen had just played ball back, maybe put his foot on it, look around, and just it's about controlling the middle of the park. It's such a vital part of the team. And I agree that Mainu definitely needs some form of rest. You do not want that lad to burn out, but hopefully with Ugarte coming in now, we should be able to rotate. But Eriksen rolled back the years in the sense today that, like I said, sometimes he just knew when to stop the ball. Great players in them positions can dictate the pace of the game, and you're going to dance to our kind of tune kind of thing. Paul Scholes was great at it. There's Kevin De Bruyne for City. There's players where they go, right, we need a breather now. We'll dictate, we'll attack when we want to attack. keep the ball, like you say, knock it about.
We did actually struggle to do it for the first 35 minutes.
We did, yeah.
The penalty save was all important.
But
certainly
testament
after that,
to Southampton
they
as
could
well.
hardly get a kick of the ball after that, and that's a lot down to Eriksen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's creative as well. That pass that he did to Xerxes.
Corners,
that was
That was at 0-0 as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
that was probably during the period where we were under the cosh.
Yeah.
And it was a great ball to Xerxes. That was a brilliant pass.
So.
Do you have to give Ten Hag some credit for making that decision? Because I don't think many
Yeah.
fans, apart from Ricky, called it in the week.
No.
Well, you have to give Eriksen praise because he's the one who's gone out and performed. But Ten Hag has, in theory, not thrown him into the lion's den, but he's put huge pressure on him. You know, he is paid to play football for United. He's been sat about, you know, kind of watching games. So, but like I say, a huge call from Ten Hag. If he gets that wrong and we're sat here now and we've just been beaten 3-0 by Southampton, it's a different story altogether. And it would be, why the fuck, you know, has he played Eriksen in that midfield? And, you know, we'd be going mad and going, you know, he's lost the plot, get him out and all this.
Next week, he might just play Ugarte and Eriksen and give Manu a rest next week.
I wouldn't be surprised
But
by
if we
that.
get beat 1-0 at Crystal Palace, everybody will definitely say it's Eriksen's fault. And no matter what happens in the game, that's what people will say.
No, do you know, I think it might... I think people are more the manager now. You know, it's not individual players. I think it's... The buck stops with it. You know, if he makes such a big call like that, I think people are looking at that and saying, you know, I would not have done that, but... We will see.
Ugarte, we got to see a glimpse of him. High press, was demanding for the defensive line to move higher up the pitch. Obviously, you can't see too much in the time that he came on, but he looked ready for the Premier League, Mordzs, didn't he? And do you think he will start the next Premier League game and hopefully maybe against Barnsley to get himself into it?
Do I think he should start? Or do you think
he will?
I think he will
should?
start. I think Ten Hag will start him. I think this Eriksen thing was just let's see if Eriksen can still do it because he hasn't played. When was the last time he played a game? Started a game? Can't remember.
A long time ago.
A very long time.
That was a while ago, yeah.
So I think
for Denmark about 4 days ago.
Yeah, but Ugarte played for Uruguay, you know, 2 games in a row. So I think he just kind of wanted to see if Ugarte could actually, not Ugarte, if Eriksen did still have that ability to be able to play because he didn't have that many other options as well. Casemiro couldn't start. Like, he just couldn't start. So. I think he'll go back and he will do what he intended to do anyway, was to start Ugarte. But I don't think Ugarte will play like a full game, or Manu won't play a full game. I think he'll definitely start bringing in Eriksen a lot more into the team. And
do you know what? I'm really excited to see Ugarte and Manu with each other. I know we saw it a bit today, but you know, at that point, Manu's on a yellow, he looks knackered, you know, Ugarte's just come into the team. I want to see him a full game with them two, or at least starting the game together and see what they can do, because I think there could be a really good partnership in there from the way that Ugarte plays, and super excited for that. And it looks like, Kev, that Casemiro's nose is right out of joint now.
Yeah, I think he'll certainly want to answer his critics. I think Casemiro will come back, he will get his chance, but I mean, I totally agree after the Liverpool kind of fiasco that you would never have. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't have put it past Ten Hag today to start Casemiro, and we probably all would have been like, what is he doing? But at the same time, he'll want to prove that he can still do it. It's a debate in itself whether Casemiro's legs have gone, but you have now got the new sort of heir to the throne in Ugarte, who comes in, won the ball high up the field. You know, there was instances where we lost it and he was just in there snapping away at their ankles, like winning the ball back, which is something that we need. I think the one thing that was glaring against Liverpool was just the gaps in the midfield area. I've just said how important the midfield area is. When you've got Kobbie Mainoo left exposed, I think now when you've got somebody who can work with him, give him that sort of freedom to roam forward with Bruno, and you've got somebody that's prepared to sit in that Rodri role who can protect the back four, that's exactly what we've been crying out for. We've spent decent money on him, and he's come in today. He's had a little bit of a cameo, but what a great time to bring him in. We weren't bringing him on, getting beat and expecting him to come in and do a job. He's come in and, you know, and we've won the game. So
do you know what it is as well? It's we've got midfielders now that with different attributes as well. I think Ugarte would have been so good against Liverpool. Well, perfect for us against Liverpool, really, with the attributes he has. Not saying he would have made us win the game, but
they'd have been better than Casemiro.
He's so tenacious and energetic, and he just has that ability to be physical in the midfield, whereas like a game like this, and this is why honestly I thought Eriksen had a really good performance today. in a game like today where, you know, we did manage to get hold of the ball in the end. When you can get hold of the ball, Eriksen, when he's on the ball, he's really, really good. There's no doubt about that. But then, would I have played Eriksen against Liverpool? Absolutely not. Well, I think he'd get overrun physically.
He's not had the time.
There's certain plays for different games, I think. Obviously, you have your starting 11 that you aim to start most games and is your best team. But 4 games, you know, like, I know Ricky will say he plays for Denmark and, you know, he's playing these good games, like, on a regular basis. But in games against maybe some of the less physical teams in the league, where you're going to have more of the ball, I do think Eriksen can be useful. But as like your starting 11 every single week, Ugarte has to come in with Mainu, and hopefully Mainu, when he can have that bit more of a rest, he can get back to how we know he can be, because I think today Mainu did underperform. But once again, I thought Bruno underperformed. We'll talk about him a little bit before we wrap it up. I mean, is it worrying that Bruno seems to not be maybe hitting the heights that we wanted him to the start of this season? And is he someone that you would maybe put on the bench for Barnsley after playing loads for the international team and not really getting a rest for United either as well?
I think if Mount was available, yeah. I just think the fact that we don't... Actually, now that Eriksen is back, I do think Eriksen will probably start on Tuesday. I think Ten Hag will give him that another game just because he played well today. It makes sense for him to just carry on that form onto the game on Tuesday. But yeah, in terms of Bruno, he does need a break. It's just the fact that Mount would have been that perfect player to give him that option to kind of switch it out.
Are we talking about Tuesday night? Surely he'll rest him Tuesday night. Are you?
Yeah.
Surely he'll rest him Tuesday
night.
night.
Yeah, I think he will. I think Eriksen will play. Eriksen will start again, and I think he'll probably play Ugarte and maybe Mainu again, actually.
I think Mainu needs a rest as well.
There's a lot of them that need a rest, don't they? I mean,
well, your other midfielders who you have to play now.
You could play Ugarte, Casemiro and Eriksen. What's wrong with that?
You could.
Yeah.
Eriksen could play the slightly forward role,
I honestly think you could play Collier, to be honest.
Yeah, he might work
I guess, yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But a lot of people say, Beth, like, you know, you said you don't want to talk about Bruno before. He's had another bad game. I will talk about him. He's not performing as well as I'd like.
Signed a new contract, Bruno.
Yeah.
It's always the curse of the contract with United, isn't it? When they get these big deals and then there's a bit of a drop off.
It's not his sort of mentality.
No.
It's nothing to do with the contract for him. But it's just the coincidence. I think he's tired, and I think he does need to play slightly more deeper. But we'll see how it goes with him. In the chat, get your comments in. The poll on who should be the starting wingers: 73% said Garnacho and Ahmad. 23% Rashford and Ahmad. 4% Garnacho and Rashford, so interesting.
I'm not surprised.
I think that is
brilliant.
a landslide, really, even though Rashford scored a really good goal today and has, you know, been starting the majority of the games. But have your say, get in the comments down below. Last but not least, because the hour is up, we're going to do Man of the Match and Magic Moment. Can we all...
What's Magic Moment?
I've told you, it's my new thing. Magic Moment is like a moment
Beth's magic moment.
For example, don't get people started.
I love it.
It's a moment in the game that like either changed the game or was like super influential.
Were you going to say we'll all have to agree it was the Onana penalty?
It's got to be the penalty save.
Exactly, because he deserves a shout out, but he's not man of the match. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He might have man of the match.
Yeah.
It's like saying someone scored like a wonder goal from like the halfway line. That would be a magic moment.
Yeah. And they would often get man of the match just for that moment, and it's not really right, is it?
Well, it could be anything, couldn't it? It could be a challenge that got like everybody, the crowd going, and then they went on and won the game. Or I like it though. We'll keep that segment. I like that.
So we've got Onana for magic moment.
We have to agree.
Yeah, I agree.
And then man of the match will go from Ricky across. Ricky?
Christian Eriksen.
Oh, we knew it. We knew it.
I'll give it to Onana.
Ooh, for the magic moment.
The magic moment, a clean sheet, penalty save.
Yeah.
I think, what else can a goalkeeper do? Like, he actually can't do anything else, realistically.
He can't really.
I have to agree with TNT. I'm going DELIGT. I think he scores his goal really well, the header. Even for the Rashford goal, I'm not taking anything away from Rashford, but when you watch it again, DELIGT is actually stood in Ramsdale's eye, and at the last second sort of makes a hit, and Ramsdale then... You know, I think that's really, really clever and great to have somebody with... I know Maguire is a threat when he's in the box, but let's not forget this is only his second start, you know, for Manchester United as well. You know, his first kind of away game starting. Thought he was just like really good, and especially after the week that he's had, everything that he will have heard the outside noise that his career's over at Holland, you know, and he's not good enough and this and that. And he's gone out there and just stuck one up the critics and said, have a bit of that.
Yeah, I am torn between Ahmad and DELIGT, but...
Ahmad's a good shout as well.
If you say Ahmad, then everyone's got a different person.
Okay.
This is crazy, actually, isn't it?
I was actually going to agree with Kev and go with DELIGT because of what you convinced me with your reasons. Then.
That's why I was trying to win you over.
But
then,
tell you what, I'll go Ahmad just to give him a shout out in there in our panel man of the match.
I'm pretty sure on the United Stand we have never had a panel that's had 4 different man of the matches, and I bet a lot of people wouldn't even argue, and because you kind of go, he was good.
Trust me, people arguing against me.
All right, that throws that theory out the window.
Yeah, but I thought Ericsson was good. I don't think he was man of the match, but I thought he was good. But look, everyone, thank you very much for watching the show. Ricky, brilliant to have you back.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Gracing us with a win as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Over the moon.
Nice one, Mordzs.
Do we know the score predictions, the thingies?
Yeah, we've got him. We've got the point. Oh, do you want to know the points?
Yeah, I want to know the points.
Yeah, they're going to bring them up on screen. Greg's going to bring them up on screen now, but I'll get them here so I can have them on my screen. So, the way the points works is you get 3 points for an exact score, 2 points for correct outcome with United's goals correct, 1 point for correct outcome, and 0 points, basically nothing, which is what you got, Ricky. So, you have Ricky in last place with 0 points because you went with a 1-1 draw. Sam, Ryan, Matt, Mark and Beth all on 1 point because we got the correct outcome, which was a United win.
Okay.
Greg on 2 points because he got the right amount of goals for United, which was 3, but he got the score wrong with the 3-1. And then up at the top, battling it out, you've got Kev and Mordzs on 3 points.
Good game.
Yeah.
You've got the whole season now, we're going to do it, so we'll see how the points add up. Everyone in the comments, how many points do you get? Where are you at? Are you with Mordzs and Kev, or are you with me? Are you with Ricky with none?
That was such a bold thingy to come out with today. I did the pre-match van cam and I took dog's abuse, man. At the end I went, United are going to win 3-0. I went, don't even ask me why, there's no logic behind it. You know, we're not in form. I just think we're going to win 3-0. And all the comments were like, what's bro smoking? He's lost the plot, you know. Love the optimism, but come on, Kev, 3-0. 3-0, man. We won, didn't we?
3-0, love to see it. Yeah. Positivity is paying you back in points there.
Yeah.
And Ricky, your cautious approach is
the Godfather's had a nightmare in 1-1.
You're Southampton right now. You're on 0 points. Maybe you'll bounce back.
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, isn't it, Ricky?
You need to work on your team shape.
Yeah. Team shape.
Look, everyone, thank you for watching. Appreciate it a lot. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Whatever you're doing, you've got the full Saturday now. You've then got man of the match. You've got match of the day tonight.
Is there still that music on it? I've not watched it for years, man. Is it?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. And everyone as well, just enjoy, relax, you know, whatever you're doing, and just think United have won a game of football. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the next one, everyone.